Mathematicians love numbers and love having them around. It doesn't matter if these numbers are related to probability or precise geometry if they contain the mathematical formula. If you are faced with the inevitability of making a decision in your life, this decision will definitely affect your future, and even the greatest mathematics books will not be able to help you. Or they will be able to if we return to the world celebrating. From Tesla's ball. 3 numbers are of great importance in our world, and they are 3, 6, and 9. In this episode, you will learn the secret of Nikola Tesla's interest in these numbers in particular, and you will also learn how these numbers can change our lives. His genius and habits have laid the groundwork for the operation of electric motors, radio, remote controls, and even the modern AC grid. It only takes a quick look at his achievements and ideas to recognize that he is a genius. Regardless of his different personal life, Tesla has amazed the world with his innovations and conclusions in the field of physics, to the point that everyone, and his colleagues around him, did a lot to bring Tesla out of the darkness. January 1943, alone and penniless in a modest hotel in New York. A few people who were lucky enough to be around him spoke about his strange habits. Tesla did not sleep more than 2 hours a night before eating. Complete. And their weight was carefully calculated, and even checked the volume of the drink in the cups before placing the cup on the table, as well as receiving the pearl ball and jewelry. Some of his close friends confirmed that he hated even seeing women wearing it. Speaking of women, Tesla was convinced that relationships with women distracted him from his work, so he chose to remain a bachelor for the rest of his life. Tesla preferred to spend his time with birds rather than friends. He regularly visited nearby parks to feed pigeons, and if his injured pigeon went to bed, he immediately took it to his hotel room to take care of it until it recovered. But Tesla's strange habits did not stop there. As we told you at the beginning of the episode, passion for numbers, 963. But how did this affect his life? Tesla always washed his hands 3 times in a row, and before entering the building, he walked around it 3 times. This may sound like obsessive-compulsive disorder or a crazy tantrum, but it was not. In this case, doctors confirmed that Taslim was not suffering from any disease. My mind, what is the secret behind this? I love receiving numbers. If you understand how wonderful the numbers 369 are, you will get the key to the universe. This is what Tesla said, but it is not certain whether this is what he actually said or whether it was attributed to him later. But what is certain is that these figures occupied a great place in the life of this scientist in the past. Let us take into account that experts say that Tesla is a superstitious believer, and that his love for these numbers is the result of a group of diverse human components. If we look at human history, we will find that the number 3 has a solid position. For example, the number of the pyramids of Giza is 3 pyramids. In the Christian faith, Christians believe in the principle of 3. It is an untouchable principle. According to them, the sanctity of the number 3 for Tesla has no religious origin, as many experts believe that it is related to physics, including energy, frequency, and vibrations, which are the basic elements. Elements that Tesla considered the cornerstone of physical laws and phenomena. The Law of Attraction and Affirmation. This law is the link between the ideas that have infiltrated our modern world, especially with regard to social media, through which we can see human life in its different directions and forms thanks to the users who share with us almost every detail of their lives and how the rule of 369 works with each other. For me, the way social media works and spreads among us like wildfire. To understand this idea, let's first look at the pillars of this approach. The Law of Attraction and Affirmation is about the ability to help oneself, a principle developed by Helen Blavatsky at the end of the 19th century. It states the following. The main approach developed by Helen Blavatsky is that similar people are attracted to each other, or people who live in the same circumstances. Paragraphs. It can be applied to our daily lives and can be formulated in the following phrase. Whoever sets a goal, desire, or specific idea and firmly believes in achieving this goal will eventually achieve it, and thus the psychological state of the person acts like a magnet that attracts him, attracted towards these goals. This approach has many supporters, including Plato, Newton, and even Albert Einstein. To explain this approach in simpler terms, we can say that the way you manage your desires and goals leads to that, in the end. Once you are sure that you want to achieve the goal, you will achieve it under certain conditions. But this is linked to several conditions, the most important condition being readiness. Those who want to become rich and famous will not wake up in the future, in the morning, to find themselves like this only because of their desires. There are many procedures that must be followed. One of them is that a person devotes all his energy to achieving his goals. But what does all this have to do with the number 3, 6, and 9? The 369 approach. Anyone who wants to follow this approach should start with the number 3 by thinking of 3 main desires and trying to believe in their existence instead of wanting to have them. For example, you can say, I am rich, instead of saying, I want to become rich. You can also choose 2 desires to have 3 desires, such as the desire to live a happy life and the desire to get a dream job. After identifying desires, it is time to understand them. Here we mean the role of the number 6, which refers to repeating the desire 6 times a day, either out loud or in self-talk. As for the number 9, it is the number of persuasion by repeating your desires. Yourself 9 times. Convince yourself that you are able to achieve your goals. The main thing is to remind yourself of your desires 3 times a day. 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times in the afternoon. This happens in the evening, and according to psychology experts, anyone who follows this approach regularly will completely change their behavior in just 3 weeks, and will then become more interested in achieving their goals in life.